Tavern. As always, it's me, Shawn. I'm joined by Mike.
Hello.
And Aaron.
Yo.
And we don't have a whole lot for you today, so we're just going to go back to our regular format and talk about some things that we've been watching. I told Aaron about this earlier. I've been watching Solar Opposites on Hulu. It's a show that is made by the same guys that make Rick and Morty.
Oh.
It's about aliens that come down and they're stranded on Earth. But yeah, so this is the second season, and it was pretty good. I finished it in a day. But the reason I'm bringing it up is because there's a subplot with tiny humans in the walls, and it kind of calls back to the movie we'll be talking about today. The ruler of the town in the wall is called the Duke.
Okay.
And he's like an overlord over everybody. I don't know. That's like the best part of the entire show. So I would say just watch it for that, because it's really funny. The Duke is voiced by Alfred Molina.
Okay.
And yeah, he's just hilarious in the show. I recommend watching it.
I gotta catch up on Rick and Morty.
You can do that on HBO Max now.
Yeah.
And the next season is coming out this month sometime.
Oh.
Yes.
I think I'm like 2 seasons behind. I think I stopped a couple episodes in season 3. So there's only 3 and 4, right?
Yeah. They're blending all together, though. I don't even remember what.
I couldn't tell you what episode was in the first or second season. I've been watching a lot, actually. Superman's on a break. Superman and Lois. I love that show.
Is that another 24 episode type deal, or is it gonna be?
It's a
shorter?
CW show, so probably.
Yeah.
Now, are Superman and Lois on a break? Or
No, the show's on.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got you.
I kind of thought it was going to go that route, but they've been pretty. They're not at like odds with each other or anything. So I've been watching that. Like I said, it's on a break though. And I picked the flashback up. Not why I wore this, but whatever.
It's fitting.
That's been pretty good actually. It's really taken the format of like the weekly bad guy. There doesn't seem to be like one bad guy for this one.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's because of what they had to do with shooting with. They pretty much had to end season 6 like out of nowhere.
Yeah,
I think. But the big thing I wanted to mention was the Mighty Ducks, the Game Changers. This show, I mean, I love those movies. I grew up watching those movies. That's why I like hockey.
Yeah, except you root for the wrong team. I'm sorry, I had to say.
And that goes back to I think it's a subconscious thing. Goldberg in the movies, the goalie, he wears a Flyers jersey like around all the time. So it's like a subliminal thing that I guess that's why I like him. I don't know. But anyway, there's only been 2 episodes so far. I'm not gonna like review them, but it's been really good. Like,
is it releasing weekly?
Yeah.
Okay.
Every Friday. We're 2 episodes in. Spoilers. I don't think you guys really care.
Probably won't watch it.
But Gordon Bombay, we're 2 episodes in, and he hasn't like coached the team yet. So
it's coming.
Are they?
But it's not even. Here's the weird thing. It's not even focused on the actual Mighty Ducks team, because they've become the New York Yankees. Like, they are like the big team in this area. I think it's still Minnesota. And so like the main kid gets kicked off of the Mighty Ducks, and his mom makes like a new team. So like it's not even about the Ducks. So I don't know why it's called the Ducks. So I don't know if like Gordon Bombay is gonna come back and be like, I'm gonna take over the Ducks, and now all these kids can go back on the Ducks. Because otherwise it's like, why is it called the
for real
Mighty Ducks?
Yeah. Are the kids that they're adults now, the ones that returned, are they still hockey players? Or?
Nobody has shown up yet.
Okay, I saw a promotional picture with like 7 of them returning, and apparently the director has an open call to any of the members members,
Yeah.
like from the original film, to come back. So maybe Kenan Thompson's gonna come back and be.
There's
That Saturday Night Live money can't survive forever.
He has his own sitcom now, though.
Does he?
Yeah, I don't remember what it is. It's just
It doesn't.
Kenan.
Yeah, it
something
doesn't.
else.
Keenan minus Kel.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know if there's any of them are scheduled to come in or not, but everybody wants Charlie Conway. He was like the main kid in the movies, but like he doesn't even do promotional stuff. Like there's a group of about 7, probably the 7 you saw. You know, they'll go to actual hockey games and like throw the puck down for the first or quarter or whatever. So yeah, it'll be cool if they show up. Nobody has yet, but I don't even know how long this thing is.
Maybe they're just writing it as they go. They're like, "Wow, that
Maybe.
episode went all right. Start next week's."
Yeah, I don't know. So, but if you're a Mighty Ducks fan, it's definitely worth the watch.
Maybe I'll give it a shot.
Yeah, I mean, it's not incredibly long. I think they're about a half hour. So
I'll do that, or I'll watch Cool Runnings again.
That's suggested as when the episode
I know.
ends.
That's a good movie, though.
I haven't seen that.
That's so odd. Like, at least WandaVision like gives you Age of Ultron as the suggestion, and then Falcon and the Winter Soldier they offer up WandaVision, like watch another show of ours.
Yeah.
But like that gives you Cool Runnings. Like,
Well,
where's the connection?
It's
there?
another
It's not the big thing on the
Oh,
screen.
okay. That's where I was like, why wouldn't they just
There's
tell
like
you
a-
like watch Mighty Ducks? Like instead they're like watch Cool Runnings.
If you scroll down, there's like movies like this.
Oh, okay, I gotcha. Yeah,
And there's the 3 Mighty Ducks, obviously, and then
that was the
like,
first
Cool.
thing that just popped into my
Yeah.
head. It's like now watch Ultron.
I don't even let it get to that point. Like once I see the credits, I'm like, there's not post-credit shit in this.
I no, I'm not sitting through 10 minutes of credits either to watch no post.
Like, why do these Disney Plus shows have
For all the
God,
different
like-
languages.
Yeah,
Oh, is
it's
it
all
just
for
that?
like international languages
Yeah.
and everything.
Yeah.
But like, I forget what episode it was on WandaVision, but I finally was like, fine, I'll rewatch Age of Ultron, and I just like clicked it, and I'm like, I'll sit through it, whatever.
thinking that it would stop suggesting it?
Yeah, and it didn't.
It
though.
didn't.
No, because it was like still 2 episodes left, and it's.
I mean, that was a
every
big
single time
part of
suggested.
the theories. Like, does this like tie in more? But I mean, that's why the Ultron theory started, was because it kept suggesting that movie. But
I think that.
it
I
was
mean,
just-
Pietro, like
yeah, I
it
mean,
kind
that's-
of built into that.
Yeah, I mean that's our Wanda's first movie, so I think that's all it was.
And Vision's first movie.
And Vision.
So
Yeah,
I think that's the main reason
yeah,
why it was
I think that was
suggested.
the biggest reason.
And Ultron's coming back.
No, it's Mephisto.
Yeah, Mephisto. It's Mephisto.
He's in the Mighty Ducks,
That's what the M stands for.
right?
Mephisto.
But who's the power broker?
Mephisto Ducks.
Oh, I guess you haven't watched the episode yet.
Mephisto.
The power broker is the
Oh.
new like theory crafting thing that everybody's talking about.
It's
Okay.
Mephisto.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Probably.
No, I'm kidding. I don't know. I don't really think I've watched any. I've watched Bob's Burgers just playing in the background for like weeks now, because that's a long show and I can stick it on and there's like no continuity.
We
so
watched
I can
Wild
just-
Wild West.
Didn't we mention that the last time though?
I don't think
I don't
so.
Oh, I
think so.
thought we did.
It was like right after that you guys.
Oh yeah.
And I was very sad that I didn't watch.
Great movie.
It's not a great movie, but I love it. It's one of the.
It's one of my
Ironically
favorite
enough,
Yeah.
it's another RV because it's like
Barry Sonnenfeld.
yeah, not a great movie, but it's one of my favorite movies.
Oh, I seriously, I can put that movie on anytime and enjoy it.
I don't even know how RV became like what it is to like. It's not even a cult classic. Like you could say it to like a passerby. Be like, remember that Robin Williams movie RV, and somebody would be like, vaguely.
People
Like, I really
remember
don't
it because it's
remember
always in the damn $5 bin. Like,
Yeah.
people
Yeah.
people know it because they know it's
Yeah.
bad.
It's not.
Yeah.
It's not like the Boondock Saints where it's like nobody watched it when it first came out, but now it's like
Yeah.
actually loved movie by a bunch of people.
And it's not like I mean, it's one of our favorite quote unquote favorite movies, because it just became like a meme, essentially, where we watch it traditionally. But it's like one of those weird things where like we can quote the entire movie now for no other reason than it started in like 2016, where we just watched it one day and we're like, what the hell did we find so hilarious about this?
We Shrek'd RV, except the difference being that Shrek 1 and 2 are genuinely good movies.
Yes. Yeah.
This one is like, I don't want to say that RV's a bad movie, but like it's a wholesome
It's not terrible.
movie, but it's not like
No, there's nothing wrong. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with the movie. It's Vacation, but rated PG.
Yeah.
Like that's essentially what it is. It's like Barry Sonnenfeld was like, "Can I make Vacation for the whole family and still make it funny?" Which works, but it's not like a classic. Like nobody's going, "Let's watch RV tonight."
and putting it on their DirecTV.
Yeah, exactly. Ooh, RV's on. Time to DVR that. Watch that Sunday night. Hey, you going out tonight? No.
I gotta
watch an RV. No way.
They need to make an RV streaming service.
Where it's just RV. No, just a Barry Sonnenfeld streaming service. I've tweeted at him to do an RV2 with Josh Hutcherson as the dad who takes his kids on the RV trip. It's essentially Vacation with Ed Helms, but
I feel like it would only really work if Robin Williams was still alive to make a cameo.
Yeah.
Because that's what they did in Vacation. Chevy Chase had a cameo, but
a cameo, and then the rest of the movie was garbage. So I'm assuming that RV2 would
be bad, probably.
Yeah, it would be terrible. Could you do like? I bet if they did it, it would just be the same beats, like the exact. It'd be like the Thing prequel, where it would be the exact same movie but with different characters, like different actors playing the same exact roles.
I still have no desire to watch that.
It's not good. I mean, I was hyped for it when it first came out, and then afterward, I was like, nah, not that great.
I mean, the good thing about prequels is like, we still have the original.
Yeah.
That's why I never say don't do it.
It expands a little bit, but there's really nothing to take away from it.
I wish that there was a cut of the practical effects version that you could watch.
Yeah.
Because they did it all practically, and then they were like, nope, do it digitally.
Yeah, release the... I don't know the director of that one. Cut. Release that cut.
The practical cut.
The practical cut.
Release the practical cut. That is a nice segue, talking about one John Carpenter movie.
Yeah, that's true.
For us to talk about this week's recommendation, John Carpenter's Escape from New York from 1981. One of my favorites of John Carpenter. This is probably in my top 3 John Carpenter movies. And it's... all 3 of my favorite John Carpenter movies star Kurt Russell as the main. The Thing, of course, is number 1. This is probably number 2. And then Big Trouble in Little China is number 3. Just because that movie's fantastic.
I didn't know that was John Carpenter.
Oh yeah, that movie's just fantastic. Like nothing tops that. Like that type of camp.
Yeah.
But
another one I haven't seen.
Big Trouble in Little China. Oh, I love that one. So this movie, like, we'll talk about the plot, but I had this thought because you and I watch Best of the Worst RLM's thing, where they watch all of these shitty B movies from like the 90s and late 80s, and I feel like this movie was what they were trying to live up to, because this is John Carpenter early on, right after Halloween. So he's still low budget, trying to make his mark, and he's trying to like figure out what genre he wants to do. Because in the 80s, John Carpenter, 79, he started with Halloween and got his foot in the door with horror. Then with this movie, he was trying to get into like action, dystopian action. And then he did a movie called Starman, which was with Jeff Bridges and Karen Allen, where there's like an alien that shows up and takes the form of her dead husband, and she has to get him back to his ship, like before they leave without him, and he'll die if he doesn't. Like, and it was kind of a love story, like a sci-fi love story. And then 82, he did The Thing, which is sci-fi horror. And then he did like Big Trouble in Little China, which is more of a comedy than anything. Like he really like tried to branch out and do like everything he possibly could with his career, which says a lot about the guy. I mean, like everyone's seen at least one John Carpenter movie.
Yeah.
So this movie takes place in 1997, the far-off future of 1997.
And at that time,
which is a trope.
Like
which is a common trope with these 80s movies that take place in the future, the far-off future of the year 2000.
So what is the rule of thumb? Like 15 years is the future.
I guess, yeah. And like there isn't really any.
Not anymore. You don't see any movies like in the year
3000 years 3000
2032 or whatever.
Yeah.
It's always like in the year 2089. It's
Yeah.
like
Or like an Endgame where it's like 2023. It's like, oh, cool, 5 years. Wow, like big deal, man. But then they always use that to bullshit away some new tech that's like groundbreaking, and it's like, oh, we did it in 5 years. It's like, okay, I guess.
those are an exception anyway, because there's a fucking Iron Man suit in 2008. We didn't have that technology 10 years ago.
Yeah,
right.
That's true. So this movie takes place in the far-off year of 1997, and the world crime rate has risen 400% after World War III starts. So, like, I get that. Like, of course it's going to shoot up because people are going to go out of their minds. So, the United States police force has decided that they're going to... Well, the United States becomes a police state, and they literally turn Manhattan into a 7-mile-long prison.
Yeah, penal city.
Yeah.
It's kind of a neat idea.
It is a neat idea.
Yeah.
So they stick all
Not in
these...
real life, but like... I don't think it would be a cool idea in real life.
Anyway, so they put... Like, if you commit a crime, it doesn't really matter, like, what it is. Like, you don't go to a regular prison. You go to New York, maximum security penitentiary. So...
But there's no guards, right?
No, there are guards. On the wall.
The NYPD, they watch it like an army.
Like inside of it.
No, not inside. Yeah, they just
you're on your own.
order.
Right.
Yeah, once you're in, you're on your own. Like, you either survive or you get killed. Like, there's no rules in New York when you're in there. But all the bridges are mined. All the waterways are patrolled. On the wall, they
that's
shoot
the first
from
scene,
the
isn't
wall.
it? It's like,
two guys on a raft.
and they're like, "Turn back now, or we'll blow you up."
And they fire
like,
one
and they
shot.
they go, and then they like try and go back, and they're like not quick enough, and they just kill them.
They just blow them up.
The point of no return, die.
So there's the scene at the beginning of this movie was deleted, which I like it a lot. It's called The Bank Robbery, and that's why Snake ends up in the prison, is because they rob the Federal Depository, and he gets a life sentence in New York.
That'd be like, was Brain supposed to be in that scene too? Because that would be kind of neat if it showed him in the beginning, and then he like bails on him. But that was a different job, I guess.
Yeah, he has a cohort there by the name of Arthur, and he reprograms the subway system, because it's all automated, reprograms it to take them to San Francisco after they rob it. So they hop on the train and it just goes to San Francisco. But when they show up, they already know where they're at. So they gun down Arthur, and Snake gets taken in, and then that's where the movie starts. Which is a cool scene, like if you get the chance to watch it. And actually, fun fact, the score that was used in that deleted scene was later used in Stranger Things, because it was never actually put into... it was that... Remember when we watched season 2, and I kept going, that sounds like a John Carpenter theme from something. And I looked it up, and we watched it the day it came out, so like, the only place I found it was Reddit, where someone else had picked up on it, and they're like, yeah, it's Bank Robbery from Escape from New York soundtrack. It was an unused track.
Huh.
And I was like, oh, no shit. I was like, I should have known that.
Wow.
Which I also own the soundtrack for this movie, because it's like one of the only like synth scores that I just fucking love. I mean, the theme in this movie is great.
John Carpenter loves his dun dun.
Yeah.
Dun dun. Because I think that's the scene whenever Snake is being processed through the prison, and then it's just him walking with the guards. Dun, dun. It's like, bro. I mean, it does add suspense to the scene, but it's just like you're rehashing what you did with the thing.
And this was a year before the thing.
That's true. Yeah. I guess he's rehashing what he does in the thing, but it works very well.
Oh yeah. And like the way the tone of everything is very like dystopian, and just gritty.
Everybody like hates each other.
Yeah, everyone is just like wants to kill each other.
So it's 2021.
Pretty much. But like the opening of the movie is like a computerized like image of New York with the wall around it, and we get Jamie Lee Curtis narrating to tell us about like everything that's set up around it, and she's uncredited, but it is Jamie Lee Curtis, and she's also the voice in the prison, like the processing facility when Snake's walking through, where it says you now have the option to terminate and be cremated on the premises. If you choose this option, please notify the duty sergeant in your sector.
That's hardcore.
Yeah, I was like, oh, you could just commit suicide right there. Like, no, I don't want to go in. And just like go into a chamber and just get vaporized. Like, I mean, it's really hardcore. That's probably why they have all this ventilation, like outside, like, because it's probably just blowing out all the fumes of dead people.
Wow.
So Snake gets offered a deal by Police Commissioner Bob Houck, played by Lee Van Cleef, who was in a lot of old westerns. He was in The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. And he gets offered a pardon because the president's plane goes down inside New York City. A bunch of, what were they, the Free Liberation Worker, the Workers' Liberation of America or something. It's a terrorist organization that wants to dismantle the imperialist political landscape that America has taken, and they plan to kill the president if they don't give in to their demands, which of course they're not going to give in to their... They know it, he knows it, so they crash the plane, but he escapes in a pod. So Snake's mission is to get in and get the president out along with a tape that has... and they play it, and it has like something to do with nuclear
just
fusion.
like scientists talking.
Yeah. So it's something to do with nuclear fusion, and he has to get to the Hartford Summit. So he's not going to make it to the Hartford Summit, obviously. But he has to get in, get the president, get the tape, and get out within 22 hours at that point, because he doesn't even go into the city until 22 hours. So this is kind of where the Suicide Squad thing pops in, because they inject Snake with 2 capsules so that he doesn't get any ideas about just running off. That they inject him with 2 capsules into his arteries that will explode in 22 hours if he doesn't get out with the president. Which is what they obviously do in Suicide Squad. They inject them with a capsule that they can remote detonate and kill them.
Yeah, the only difference is there's no timer.
Yeah, this is just a time release thing.
Yeah. So Snake goes in, and he finds the president's pod, but he's not in there, so he locates the tracking device, and the tracking device is on just some bum. And
what was it before that? The one scene just made no sense to me. I don't even remember the name of the store. Bunch of Nuts or something like that. Chock full of nuts.
Yeah.
And he's just like gonna make out with.
Oh
this,
yeah.
That just like seems so thrown in there. For like John Carpenter's like, yeah, we gotta give him a little sauciness or something. It's like, what? It didn't add anything to the plot except for she gets murdered, and then he's like motivated to go find the tracker again. Right? Yeah. It just made no sense to me.
Yeah, because he was like really close to just like giving up, and was like, I mean, I'm sure that's probably what his whole like thought process was. Like, well, I'm gonna die here, so might as well, get lucky before I die. So I'm sure that's kind of like where his mind was. But yeah, you're right. It really doesn't make much sense.
Very jarring.
And then he doesn't find the tracker, but he meets Cabby later on, and
you wonder what Cabby did to get thrown into prison.
Yeah, for real. Cabby is a cab driver in New York who's been driving the same cab around for 30 years inside the 30 years. So that would have been Cabby must just got locked in there, I
Yeah,
guess. Like, they just built a wall around him, and he's like, well, I can't leave now. So, yeah, because the movie, like, it says in 1988 is when it, like, starts. Like, when World War III starts. So I'm like, oh, Cabby just got locked in there. He's like, oh, shit. Guess I'm stuck in here.
It's not like the walls went up overnight.
Yeah, for real.
I should probably get out of here.
Looks like they're building something over there. They're putting
like
mines in the
Donald Trump
bridges.
would like.
Yeah. So Cabby tells him that the president's probably with the Duke. So the only way that they can meet the Duke is they have to go through Brain, who Snake doesn't at this point know that Brain is one of his old partners that they used to rob banks with and stuff. So they meet up with Brain. Brain says he can get him to meet the Duke. And Snake goes in and gets captured by the Duke and gets put into like a fight ring type of thing, where he kills like a big wrestler guy. And then it's another action movie trope where the hero has to fight someone 3 times his size.
It's always an actual wrestler.
Yeah, it's always some wrestler. Yeah.
So just real quick, just because that always hits home with me. Apparently that was that dude's look, like, as a wrestler.
Oh, yeah.
Like just his costume that he had,
like the whole
giant eyebrows and everything.
Yeah, like that was his thing. Like that's how he looked.
It's unique.
Yeah.
So yeah, like he kills him, and while Snake's doing that, Brain snuck the president out. So the Duke and all of them have to go after the president and hunt down Snake and Brain and Cabby and all of them. And they go, like, their plan is, the Duke's plan is Brain has the bridge mapped out on the 69th Street Bridge, which is mined, but he knows where the mines are. So they can get out via Brain's diagram that he has on the bridge. And they can overrun the wall and just everyone can escape. So,
I mean, if you think about it, they could just do that to begin with.
Yeah, they
just like send like the entire city down one bridge. Like, yeah, people are gonna die, but you just put the people that you don't care about at the front. They'll blow up the mines, and then the rest of them just overrun the wall.
Yeah. I don't know why they didn't like think to do that, but
they'd have to like rush all the army or.
Magneto knows that. You know, the pawns go first.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
So the Duke is chasing after them. Brain and Cabby both get killed because they hit a mine, and Maggie, who's I forgot to mention is Brain's squeeze, yeah. That the Duke gave to him. Brain dies, so she takes the gun and tries to kill the Duke as he's coming down the bridge, and she gets hit by the Duke, and the Duke gets out of the car and he goes to go kill Snake, and the president already went up over the wall, and the Duke gets gunned down, and when Snake looks up, the president's standing there with an assault rifle, just mercilessly shooting the Duke up repeatedly. And then Snake gets out and hands over the tape to Bob Houck, and then they stop the charges from going off, and then
kind of anticlimactic too, like.
Which
you don't see anything, like they just do it, and they're like, "Hey, you're good."
Yeah, and I also want to bring something up. The guy who injects him tells Snake 15 minutes before the last hour's up, we can neutralize it. There was 5 seconds left on the clock.
Yeah.
So it's like he should still be dead. There's 5 seconds. Like there's no way you could reduce that charge in 5 seconds. But
I forgot about that line.
That's a nitpick. Like, that's neither here nor there. So the president's getting ready to do his speech for the Hartford Summit via satellite connection, and he pops the tape in and plays it, and it's Cabby's music, the tape from Cabby's cab, which is just like old swing music, and Snake walks away ripping up the tape that actually had all the fusion stuff on which is really good ending in my opinion.
So kids today would be like,
Yeah,
what the hell
is
are
that?
those?
Yeah, what's that?
That's all I could think of when I saw a cassette tape. I was like,
well, it was 97, so we still did have cassette tapes.
yeah, no, I had, bought a few in probably 97. So
I know I had a few in 97.
I used to buy them at Goodwill actually, because like they were dirt cheap.
Oh yeah, I had like a bunch of them, but so yeah, that's Escape from New York. What'd you guys think of it?
I liked it. I was thinking, so obviously whenever the president like uses Snake as bait to kill the Duke, that's probably what motivated him later. It's like, yeah, a lot of people died saving you. How do you feel about that? And the president just kind of blows him off.
Yeah.
He's probably like, well, that solidified my opinion of destroying this tape.
Yeah.
I mean, he already gave the faulty tape to Hawk anyway, but
he could have. Yeah.
He could have gave. Well, by the way, this is the right one. But I just thought that was. He's like, oh well, just using Snake as bait, but he still like he could have just like left him there.
Yeah.
But I mean, that would have been a bad ending of the movie. You want your. I guess Snake is technically the protagonist, even though he's a dirtbag.
Yeah.
He is indeed a dirtbag.
So I don't know the history very well. I knew of this movie because of his name, because the main character in Metal Gear Solid is Snake. Mm-hmm. Well, in the second one, he comes back because you play as Raiden or Raiden. I don't know however you say it in that game, but this character comes in and he's like, I'm called Pliskin.
Oh yeah, there was like that.
And it's actually Snake, so Snake Pliskin. Like that's why
Snake
always...
Pliskin is in Metal Gear.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I mean like not the Snake Pliskin.
Okay,
but like
I know that
the character's code name is Snake, but he comes back. Like we know who he is, but the main character you're playing as now doesn't. So he's like, my name is Pliskin. So it's like a
nod to it.
Yeah, it's like a nod to this movie. Yeah, Easter egg.
Yeah, because I know that there's like Solid Snake and Liquid Snake and all that other. I don't follow.
I
gaseous Snake.
But that's my original knowledge of this. Like I looked up, I was like, oh, that's something.
Well, did you watch The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy?
No.
Oh,
what?
There's a character in there, and his name is Hoss Delgado, and he's Snake Plissken fused with Ash from The Evil Dead.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's pretty great.
So he's like, his character resembles Snake Plissken, but he has like an extendable chainsaw hand that can like morph into different things.
And then he can put like different attachments on it and everything.
Yeah. But yeah, he's a great character. Every time I see Snake now, though, I just think of Hoss Delgado.
Okay.
Well, it's kind of funny that you mentioned that because I didn't watch this movie first. It's kind of like the Terminator franchise, where I didn't watch this one first. I watched the sequel first.
Okay.
And I was like flipping through AMC one day, and there was this scene, and I knew it was Kurt Russell, but he's like, and it's from Escape from LA, which is the sequel to this, which is not nearly as good as this one.
Oh, okay.
But these bikers like jump him. They're like chasing him down or whatever, and they run him off the bike. And he gets up, and they're all standing there, and they all have their guns. And he like puts his guns like in his holsters, and he says, "Okay," he said, "Let's do this the old-fashioned way." And he takes like a can, and he says, "Nobody draws until this hits the ground." So they all put their guns like down at their sides and everything, and he throws it up, and while they're all focused on the can, he takes out his guns and like kills all 6 of them.
Yeah.
And then after they're all dead, he goes, "Draw." And I like looked at him, and I was like, "That's Hoss Delgado." And I was like, what the fuck? So I like started Googling it, and I was like, oh, this is what Hoss Delgado was based off of.
Yeah.
So then I like fell down the rabbit hole of like watching that movie, then watching Escape from New York, and then.
But I think that's why the character is called Snake in Metal Gear, because he is clearly based.
Oh yeah, he even has the eye patch.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think of the original.
Not originally,
not
but
the original.
he does lose an eye in one of the games, and he has the eye patch. So I mean. He is clearly based on this character.
Oh yeah, and like Snake Plissken is an iconic like action hero. Like hell, we were watching it, and your mom was like, "Oh, is this Snake Plissken?" Like, yes, it is.
Yeah, he's on the
That's
same
great.
level as John McClane, essentially.
Yeah, pretty much. Like you could say the name and somebody.
Like, I didn't know
Yeah.
that's the one big thing about this is like I didn't know how well known
Oh yeah.
this movie is.
It's kind of one of those things that you almost have to search for, because you know the name, but unless you're actually looking for it, it's not playing on TV. You're not gonna see it. Like,
I think I had seen a clip of this movie on TV because I remember thinking like, oh, they're calling him Snake. That's he kind of looks like Snake because I grew up playing Metal Gear anyway. So like, I was like, huh. That's probably what sparked the research into it. But I hadn't seen this movie in the entirety, so until now.
Yeah, and like that was another. That was partially why I recommended it, was because I saw it was on HBO Max, and I was like, oh, one of my favorites that's readily available for easily accessible for all of us to watch.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I wanted to take a minute to talk about the low budget to this movie that still works pretty well. Because I feel like when you have a lower budget, dystopian looking things come across a hell of a lot easier because you just muddy the shit out of it, and like
You just find broken shit.
And you just go, well, World War III happened, and it's like, oh, yep, I get it. Like, I feel like that's something like with the Terminator, where it just takes place in modern day with a machine that you don't even see the machine part of it until the third act. So it's kind of like one of those things where it's just, you can tell that story without spending a shit ton of money.
Yeah.
And I feel like they did the same thing in this movie, where it's like, oh, a couple matte paintings, a couple computer graphics, a couple models, like we just dirty the shit out of. So like they probably shot it like in downtown LA, where there was a bunch of restaurants that were boarded up that haven't been used, and they're just like, eh. And they're like,
how'd they put this stack of cars there then?
Probably went to a junkyard or something, and just like, I mean, honestly, like they probably just,
those could have been miniatures anyway.
yeah.
Yeah, it looks great.
Yeah, I mean,
you don't have to pay for weapons because they only have the crossbows.
Yeah, they only have the crossbows and then the two guns Snake has.
Yeah.
And then I feel like a lot of the scenes, especially like the bank robbery part of it, which isn't seen, but it has like the same type of hallways and everything that the processing center has. I feel like you could just shoot those in any like doctor's office or something like that, and just cover up a couple panels or something. But I mean, like it creates a world in itself. Like you feel like you're in a different type of world in that setting. And like when you can do that with a low budget, you've succeeded in that film, because you literally went through almost zero effort to make it completely different.
Yeah.
And like they don't show you what the outside world really looks like.
No.
Just what New York is like, and it's all just gritty and crappy, and people are wearing tattered clothes and trying to kill each other. And then on the outside, it's just a police state with people in military uniforms and escorting people through detention facilities. And it's like, wow, like what does the outside world actually look like here?
Yeah.
Which you really don't get to see in either of the movies, which is kind of nice, because it really just solidifies that world is so shitty.
Yeah.
Like that it's literally a police state that there is no escape from. They have a comic series too.
Okay.
I haven't read a whole lot of it. I think I have a couple issues of it, but yeah, I mean, like this is one of those John Carpenter movies that takes on a life of its own, that could actually, like, I mean, they still make comics of it and stuff, so I mean, it's profitable.
I'm kind of surprised. When was the second one made?
97, I believe.
Okay.
So.
How ironic.
Yeah. How about that? It takes place in 2013.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Snake is significantly older.
I think I started to watch that one. I don't think
all hell.
I don't think I knew which one came first. But I think I started that one and I turned it off.
It's goofy. It's fun though.
Yeah.
Like that. Like I had to go and find that movie, and it was funny because that was the first time that I ever went to FYE, and asked the guy. I was like, because I didn't have a phone to go. It was like I was in like 8th or 9th grade when I saw this movie. So I had to go to FYE and I had to ask the guy. I'm like, a movie with Kurt Russell where he kills like 6 guys with 2 pistols, and he's like, "Oh, you want Escape from LA?" Like, and he took me right to it. Like, it was this dude with a long beard, and he's like, "Oh, you're looking for Escape from LA?" Like, it was like that. It was
I
like
wish I could remember who that was.
It was like Jamie Kennedy in Scream,
Yeah.
where they're like, "I'm looking for that movie with E.T.'s mom and the dog," and he's like, "Oh, Cujo," and like it's like point like it was that moment, and I was like, "Dude, you're a lifesaver." Like,
Wow.
he gave me the DVD, and then I watched it. But yeah, like it's a goofy movie, but it's
oh my
fun.
god, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, I
With
can
red
see
beard?
it. Yes,
That's ripping.
I think. Yeah, you're right. It is. Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's great.
Dude.
Shout out to Rippin.
Yeah, dude, saved me that day. Got me the because I bought both.
He was the bass player, and then became the singer of Neocracy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
and I bought both the DVDs that day.
Yeah.
Because he's like, well, you got to watch this one too, and I was like, what's this? He's like, this is the first one. I was like, there's a first one. It's amazing. So
that's great.
Adding on to the world building, I like when Hawk is talking to Snake about his mission, and he's telling him about like the politics of like the penal city of Manhattan, and he's like, yeah, the guys in the subway, they're the real freaks.
Yeah.
And just like basically like layering out. And it's weird to me how like whenever Snake just goes and watches that opera, and then Cabby just like knows who he is. He's like, "You're Snake Plissken."
Yeah, a bunch of people know who he is, and that's a running joke in Escape from LA too. Except it's not, "I heard you were dead." It's people are like, "Oh, I thought you'd be taller." Like, and actually, I did that to a guy at a con who was dressed up as Snake Plissken, and like. I was like, "Snake Plissken," and the guy was like, and he's turned around, and he turns around, and he goes, "Yeah," and I was like, "Thought you'd be taller," and I just turned around, and he just starts laughing his ass off. One thing I wanted to bring up, when he talks with Houck about the mission, well, when he's offering him the pardon, I love their dialogue back and forth, because Snake is half being an ass and half just not giving a shit. Like, period. Because like they're sitting there and Houck's like he's like, "I need an answer," and he's like, "I'll think about it," and he's like, "No, I need it now." And then he's like says something else, and Snake says, "Give me the paper," and he says, "No," he said, "When you come out." And then he says something else, and Houck goes, "Give me an answer," and he goes, "Get a new president." Like, he's like giving him the solution to his problem. Like, get a new president.
Yeah.
Like, I like that back and forth there.
And he insists on him calling him Snake at the beginning.
Yeah.
And then after his almost death, he tells him to call him Plissken.
Yeah.
After, kind of weird to me.
I didn't quite understand why.
I mean, it's just basically him telling him to fuck off.
Okay.
Like
no matter what you call me, just I don't care.
Yeah, because like at that point, Snake was like, "Oh well, shit, they're offering me a way out." So he was like trying to be like, "Okay, like I'll pretend to be I'll pretend to do whatever you want me to." And then after that, he's like, "Fuck off, dude. Like, call me. You don't get to call me Snake."
Yeah. Okay.
There's something else I was gonna say about that. Oh, when he like tries to choke Bob out after he tells him, like, and when he injects him, and then they don't say anything, and the stupid ass doctor turns around, and he's like, "Tell him," and then Houck's like it just looks at him like, "Why did you say that?"
Yeah, why would the doctor care? Like,
yeah. And then Snake's like, "Tell me what?" And then he tells him that there's charges in his neck, and then he goes to choke Bob to death. But yeah, like this is definitely one of my favorites. One I like to
I love
revisit
these
from time to time.
I love these movies that you can tell that they were made in like the 80s area.
Oh yeah, you can tell.
Like I said, this is the
But it
B
gives
movie.
it like an aesthetic that like I get enjoyment out of that aesthetic.
Oh yeah.
You know, things like Terminator.
It has that 80s feel, that 80s action feel that can't be replicated
and like
anymore.
The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, like, yeah, that was a 90 film, but
it
like
was very much
it
80s
feels
feel.
like the same, has that aesthetic that like Terminator and this and
It's
stuff
just
has.
dark.
And
Yeah,
like
like kinda-
RoboCop, like all that stuff.
Yeah,
Like,
RoboCop.
you can never replicate that again.
No.
Like that's a charm.
I don't know
that
if
is
it was
just
something
lost
with
to
like
time.
the way they shot it or the kind of cameras they had at the time.
Yeah.
But like it just has that maybe not graininess, but like
it
grimy.
Yeah.
It's their limitations bettered it.
Mm-hmm.
And like you can never replicate that, and
Yeah.
nobody wants to replicate that. It's just like that's something that's solidified in
like I don't even know if it's a thing that they consciously did.
Yeah,
it's just how it came out.
It's
the
availability they had at the time.
Yeah.
Like I said at the beginning, this is the B film that all B films want to live up to, and none of them have really come close to it. Like it has some solid characters and pun intended solid characters.
Solid.
It has some really solid characters, a good story and everything, and it's fun and action packed, with a little bit of comedy thrown in. Like one of my favorite funny moments is when Cabby picks up Snake as he's being chased down the alleyway, and Cabby's like, "Yeah, you don't want to be around here, Snake." While he's like lighting the rag on a Molotov cocktail, and he's like talking to him like this, and he just like chucks it out the window, blows it up down the alley as they're driving away. Like there's just funny things like that, like that are genius, and I feel like they wanted to remake this movie, and I'm like, please don't, like please do not. It's just gonna become garbage at that point, and people are good. I mean, people will probably develop a better appreciation for this if they were to do that, but I just don't want them to.
It's kind of my rule of thumb on remakes as well as sequels. Like we always have the original anyway, so I mean, I guess give it a go. But
like RoboCop did that for me, where I was like, shouldn't have done that.
I still haven't watched the remake.
It's not worth it.
Yeah.
So do we wanna rate it, or do we have anything else we want to add?
Yeah, I'm pretty much finished with talking about it. So
all right.
Yeah.
Mike, why don't you start us off with your rating?
All right. I mean, I love like what we talked about, the aesthetic and everything. I'm gonna go, I think, 7 out of 10. Like I really liked it.
Yeah, I'm around there too. I'm gonna go 6.5 out of 10. Yeah, I like the story. It's the very first Suicide Squad, like you mentioned. I wonder if they got the idea from this.
Probably.
Yeah, it looks great. The story doesn't like always hit with me, like that weird
The
scene
chock
with
full
of
of
nuts,
yeah.
and some weird just like non sequitur tie-ins. But other than that, the action's pretty great too. I wish that the Duke was fleshed out more. He's just kind of a wall that they have to surpass. But other than that, pretty good.
Yeah. I'm also around that too. I'm gonna give it a 7.5, because it's everything that you guys said. The action is pretty good with a couple of exceptions, but the story, the look, the feel, everything is pretty solid. And I would definitely rewatch it. And I definitely recommend it. I definitely recommend it to anyone who's a fan of any of the 80s action movies, because that was right at the beginning of the 80s.
Yeah.
So really, you could argue that Snake kind of ushered in that genre of 80s action stars, because Rambo didn't come out till afterward and all that. So it's kind of like he kind of ushered in that era.
Yeah.
Mad Max. Well, Mad Max was before, but yeah, he's one of the OG action stars.
He certainly is. Well, there you have it. We finished off our recommendation. We have another one coming our way from yours truly this time. I've been thinking about this one, and I think I'm going to recommend James and the Giant Peach, because I haven't watched it in a long time.
All right.
And I used to watch it all the time as a kid.
As did
I
I.
genuinely hardly remember anything about it, so I'm excited to go back and...
I literally watched half of it like 2 months ago.
Oh, really?
I was
Well,
going to say...
be able to finish it off.
I was going to say, probably the most recent that I watched it was like 6 years ago. But it's still pretty recent.
As a kid, it always gave me like this weird... Like, I liked watching it.
It's a childhood trauma type thing.
Yeah, it's like, it gave me a weird feeling, though, to watch that movie, like, because I got kind of uneasy to think of being that size and, like, the spider and shit. it. Like,
Oh, see, I just love
like I probably thought way too deep into it.
the rhinoceros might be the most traumatizing part.
Yeah.
But we'll get into that next time.
All right. Make sure, if you don't want to be spoiled for James and the Giant Peach, to watch it before next episode. Thank you for watching or listening. I hope you enjoyed our discussion about Escape from New York. We sure enjoyed talking about it. Make sure to like and subscribe and comment down below. And we will see you guys next time.
Snake! Snake! Snake!